Welcome, everyone, to Creator Economy NYC, our final event of 2024. Hey. Woo! Okay, all right. Our 17th event of the year. We could cheer for that one as well, which is really great. My name is Brett. This is a big crowd here today. This is awesome. This is really cool. What a way to close out. My name is Brett Deshevsky. I am the founder and organizer of Creator Economy NYC. We are an organization and community based here in, of course, New York that aims to achieve two things. First and foremost, champion the New York City creator economy and all that is being built here. All of you creators, founders, marketers, the brands that are supporting this ecosystem, that's something to cheer about. So that's what we're on a mission to do. We could cheer for that. We're champion all of us. Woo! And two, we want to connect creators. We want to help them learn and ultimately thrive. And we do that through, obviously, these events. We have a weekly newsletter, and then a lot more to come in 2025 to serve this community. Now, just by a quick show of hands, how many people's first event is this, Creator Economy NYC? Okay, amazing. And if this is not your first event, let me hear you holler. All right, we got returners. We got some claps. That's great. Amazing. So this is our final event of 2024, and I just want to say, we have this packed room and these amazing creators here and these amazing partners because of all of you. This is truly a community effort. You guys show up, you invite new people, you contribute to the conversations, and it's also in the name. It's literally Creator Economy, which is an industry that we're all building. It's an ecosystem, and New York City is the greatest city on earth, and that is a community. So I realize I should be more in the center here. So that is something to be proud of. And before we dive in, I do want to give a couple of thanks. First and foremost, to Shopify, our presenting partner for tonight's event. Shopify, I don't know if they need much of an explanation, but they are the leading commerce platform in the world, and they are really helping to empower creators, take their brands and businesses to the next level, providing a ton of support. Honored to have Jacob, who's Creator Partnerships lead at Shopify, on our panel. They're doing so much. Now, quick funny story, I was here for a creator event, I don't know, back in June or July of 2023, and afterwards I reached out to someone at the company about partnering on an event.
Who was it?
We're not naming names here, but he's wearing a hat and he's on the panel. Obviously, I mean, wasn't the right time and they passed. But again, we kept building this together, and now we're able to partner with Shopify, and they're here to support the community, which is amazing. So a big round of applause and thank you to them.
Congrats to you on all your success.
Thank you. And also to our supporting partners, Teachable. If you've been to past events, you know that Teachable has been incredibly impactful in supporting this community. We have their team lined up in the back like a damn army, intimidating. Teachable is a no-code platform that is helping creators productize their knowledge and their experiences through digital downloads, courses, communities. They're doing a ton that's helping creators really build sustainable businesses, kind of hop off the treadmill of content creation, and they have an amazing support group there. So you'll be seeing a lot more of Teachable, hopefully in the new year, and maybe I'll be doing something on Teachable. I don't know, we'll see. So a huge round of applause for Teachable. And last but certainly not least, one of my favorite companies in the creator space, Beehive. There we go, we got some of the team here. They are the leading creator newsletter platform, helping creators own their audience, communicate directly with them, tell stories, and also monetize. They are absolutely crushing it. Show of hands, anyone have a Beehive newsletter? Hell yeah. All right, cool, we got some people here. Hopefully there'll be a lot more. If you're ever interested in setting up a newsletter, let me know. Happy to walk you through it. But huge round of applause for Beehive.
Buzz.
And then also, again, these events, there's a lot that goes into them. It takes a village. And so I do want to give a shout out to a couple of folks who have been so helpful. When you were coming in, you were checked in by both Mel and Zach. They have been instrumental in helping with that flow. So a huge shout out to them. Thank you so much. Let's give a round of applause. And also Sophia from Shopify, Danny, the rest of the team, Miguel, you guys have been so helpful. This is like you're on stage at Broadway. It's great. Or like the Queen. They have been amazing. So thank you all to the volunteers and the sponsors tonight. Now, tonight we're diving into a topic that I think really is shaping the creator economy. It's focused on commerce, but particularly the ways that we're building products and brands. And so we have three amazing content creators here tonight who have either already have launched their brands and are on Shopify, or are uniquely currently building their brands. Brett here, Brett number 2, by the way, who will be getting into what he's launching and talking about kind of like the tactics and the journey of doing that. So all of you, down the line can aspire to do that, or maybe are currently looking to launch, or already have a Shopify store and are figuring that element out. So we'll chat for around 30 minutes or so, maybe less, because I want to give everyone here a chance to ask questions. And then, we'll get back right to it. So real quick, and then I promise I'm going to shut up. Show of hands, how many people here are consider themselves a content creator? Okay, wow, amazing. Consider themselves like a founder, entrepreneur, okay. What about marketer or brand? Okay, great. Wow, we have an amazing mix here. Great. Okay, some are all three. We're triple threat. We love that. And how many of you have currently launched your own business or are maybe looking to do so in 2025? All right, good. We got a good crew here. Great. Well, thank you for listening to my spiel and my intro. And I'm excited to kick off our last panel of the year with some three amazing folks. By the way, two creators that are New York based. Amanda is Toronto, but Toronto's like New York of Canada?
One could say
okay, that. For the sake of this panel. And then Jacob's apparently from the Detroit, Canada area. Okay, you got you.
Yeah, I'm from Windsor, Ontario. Shout out. If there's anyone here from Windsor. Actually, for real? You're from Ontario. Okay, shout out Ontario. Thank you for coming.
Unbelievable. Okay, great. Yeah, well, Shopify's a Canadian company.
Based in Ottawa.
Based in Ottawa, so we got to embrace that. All right, amazing. Well, I want to pass it off to the panelists to each introduce themselves, then we can dive into the first question. Amanda, Toronto, you're right next to me. Let's kick it off with you.
Yes. Hi, everyone. I'm Amanda. I started out on YouTube 12 years ago now, and I make videos about art, drawing, and journaling. And since we're talking about commerce, I started a stationery company about 6 years ago, and I sell like planners and notebooks and stickers.
And what's it called?
Oh, it's just Shop ARL.
Nice. Amazing.
What's up, guys? My name is Brett Conti. I am a New Yorker, and I know this is from content to commerce, but I actually went from commerce to content and now back to commerce. So I've started businesses in the past, and I mostly do YouTube and videos on New York City, business, travel, and very excited to be here.
Where's the last place you traveled to?
I was in Thailand a couple days ago.
Very nice.
Yeah.
I got here yesterday from Thailand.
Wow. Maybe we're on the same flight. That's great. Amazing. And Elliot?
Hey guys, my name's Elliot. I started doing YouTube about 6 years ago now. Started off in college doing like day in the life videos, college vlogs, and then at some point I graduated, so couldn't do that anymore. Moved to New York, have been here just doing lifestyle content. My senior year of college, I started this brand called Copyright. I'm rocking it right now. As always, if you know me in real life, I literally only wear Copyright, so that's a fun fact. But that's what I'm focused on building now, doing a lot of like building in public content, and still doing YouTube, focusing a lot on building the brand, and excited to be here and talk to you guys tonight.
Awesome. Jacob?
Really? Yeah? Okay. Hi, I'm Jacob. I work with creators at Shopify. Where's my Shopify team at? Raise your hand if you're the Shopify team. They're back there. Obviously, if you're a creator, we'd love to have a conversation with you guys. There's lots of wonderful creators building amazing brands on the platform. So if you want to talk to us, there's going to be a lot of us here tonight. So thanks for coming.
It's amazing. Welcome. I'm also, I'm wearing Shopify socks.
Hell yeah.
So they say like entrepreneur on them.
Hell yeah.
They're an interesting green, but I know that's like the color. But
That's the Pantone.
Great merch.
I want some Shopify socks.
We'll send you some.
Okay. Everyone gets a Shopify sock.
Look under your chair.
Yeah, the Oprah. Amazing. So first question I want to start with, something fun, actually. And Jacob, I also want to hear this from you. I know you all are currently sell your own products or are looking to launch, but if you could launch any product like in the world, dream, what would it be?
Me. Okay. Well, I am actually launching my dream product next year, which is going to be plushies and keychains. So I'm so excited about that.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
really fun.
All right, I have a dream that I've been manifesting for a while. I love ice cream, so my goal is to get to a point where I can buy out Ben and it becomes Brett and Jerry's. It's happening. Mark my words.
That's nice. That's nice.
Let's see. I'm going on a ski trip like in a month or so. So selfishly, I like to like create things that I would use. I would love to make a snowboard. That would be super sick.
Interesting.
Fun fact, if anyone knows the history of Shopify, it was built because our CEO, Toby, was big into snowboarding, and he launched Snow Devil, which was one of the first Shopify stores, and sold snowboards. So,
Snow Devil copyright collab.
yeah, hey, ooh, gonna make it happen.
There's a good How I Built This on that with Toby. I listened to it. It's good.
It's a great story. I haven't even said this to Amanda. I think my dream project would be to launch a sticker brand, like having a sticker shop. Yeah, I'm not coming for you, I promise. But launching a sticker shop is something that I've talked about for a lot. So maybe you'll see that in 25. I don't know.
Yeah, let's do it.
I love that. Amazing. I feel like I want to answer this because it's a fun question. I feel like a glasses brand would be really cool. I like sleek glasses, like a mascot, or these are Garrett Late endorsement. Yeah, so that's what I would do. Maybe we can, right? Shopify enables us, so it's great.
All the plugging you're doing.
I'm sorry. I'm done. I'm done. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, that's like 4 plugs.
I'm enough.
I get paying you per plug.
I get paid every time I say Shopify.
Your dollar's in the mail.
All right. So Amanda, you've launched a brand that is like an extension of you. It's called Shop ARL. It's like very clearly attached to AmandaRachLee. And then Elliot and Brett, you guys have both launched brands that don't really have an association directly to you. And I want to kind of talk about the story you told us with. So Brett's launching. You want to tell people what you're launching?
Yeah, wait. You guys are going to be the first people in the world to know the name. So it's called Belief Tea, spelled BELEAF, like play on words. So this is the first time I'm saying it out loud in public, so feel special, please. But yeah, I've been working on it for the past year, and to answer where I know your question's going, I wanted to create a separate entity and not necessarily have it be so attached to my brands. And yeah, because a lot of my audience was like, why don't you call it Conti, my last name? And I was like, I love the creativity there, but I wanted to create something totally separate.
Interesting. So you answered my question, and I want to come to you, Amanda, in terms of how you thought about creating this brand and keeping it kind of with your name.
Yeah, I mean, for me personally, when I started the stationery company 6 years ago, I didn't go into it with the intention of it becoming a brand. It was just kind of like merch at the time, I guess. And there wasn't really people doing like this brand stuff in the creator space. So it actually did start out just as like my full name. And I did have a lot of people in my ear saying like, oh, you can get it in Targets and like, grow. But I actually spoke to a fellow artist who does do that. He has a lot of products in like the Targets of the world and all of that. And he said, there's a lot of things with that where they, control the quality of your products, and that's like a middle person that you don't necessarily need because you have access to your customer. And I think me, just like in terms of the nature of my content, people are really connected to me and having that face to connect with in terms of journaling content. So I think that having that like friendly face is really nice to have for people to feel connected to the product that they're buying. And it's kind of like how Martha Stewart is a person, but it's also become like a brand. So that's kind of what I see it as.
No, it's great. I love that.
Martha Stewart and notebooks. I love it.
Yes, exactly.
Next Martha Stewart, right next to us. And Elliot, so you are doing similar with Brett, where your copyright is not, Elliot Choy, it's copyright. How did you kind of think about that decision in terms of a brand that you wanted to create as an extension of yourself?
Yeah, I think when I started, like, again, it was kind of similar to what Amanda said. It was kind of like, okay, like, this is just something for my viewers to buy into and really just engage with. But yeah, I think intentionally when I started, I wanted to name it something separate from me, not too attached, because I wanted to have like the potential to grow beyond myself. I think like as a creator, we always think about like me, and like I wanted to build something that actually could grow beyond that. And so yeah, I feel like I'm finally at that stage where we're making that push towards really expanding outside of just our community. And of course, the community is still a huge part of it, but yeah, I wanted to let it grow its own legs and run on its own. So
It's fitting because Alex Cooper of Call Her Daddy just launched Unwell, right? She launched a CPG brand, and it's called Unwell. I mean, it go in lines with her broader business, but I don't know if it has her name attached to it, but people know, oh, Unwell is Alex Cooper. Perhaps the same way they may know, like, oh, Belief is Brett or Copyright is Elliot.
yeah, and I think it actually, like, a lot of times we think about how like creators can promote their own brands, and they're like, okay, this is the funnel and flow of traffic and attention from creator to brand, but it can very much work the other way, where someone can discover a brand however they may discover it, and that can actually lead to like them discovering the creator kind of like the other way. And then if you can get both going at the same time, that's really cool.
And Jacob, question for you, because I'm sure you talk to a lot of creators, or if they have the potential to launch something. How do you maybe advise them on that if they're figuring that out? Do you maybe approach them like, oh, you can create a Feastables like Mr. Beast?
I think that with creators and commerce, like the time has to be right. I would never tell a creator like, go launch a product, because you're gonna spend 3, 6, 12, 2 years building it, right? And it might take you away from building content. I'm doing a bad job at doing commerce. But like, honestly, the time has to be right and your community has to be ready for it. Because, if you launch something that's disconnected from what your community is looking for, like that might not land at all. So really, it's like making sure that that one, you're ready for it, and that two, you're providing value to your community, right? So Amanda, in your content, like you've been making journaling content for 12 years?
When I started, I think I had been making it for like 6 or 7 years at that point already.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
so
it was-
like it was a natural extension of what you were already doing. So time has to be right.
I'm actually curious about that. For a lot of folks in the room who are creating content currently, and for each of you, I want to hear, what was like the inflection point of like, it's time to maybe build beyond my channel and launch like a physical brand or something?
For me, I had just been making these videos showing me drawing and journaling, and I just noticed a lot of comments from people saying, I would love to do this, but I don't have the artistic skill or the talent or anything. So I just went into it kind of wanting to solve a problem for my viewers and releasing this product. And now we've been making this planner for 6 years now. So it just kind of grew and grew from there, and we've been able to have people discover the product, like Elliot mentioned, first, and then discover me afterwards. So I think it was a very natural progression, but like Jacob said, the time had to be right, because it does take up a lot more of my time than content does, for sure.
So, and Brett, you're in the midst of doing this right now. You came from the commerce world, seemingly had a little bit of a break because you were traumatized from it, maybe. What kind of pushed you to bring it back?
Yeah, so I definitely would identify always as an entrepreneur first. That was my first love, like what I knew I wanted to do since I was a little kid. I knew that this is just like what I was destined for. And I started my YouTube channel by doing like a build in public before that was even a thing. This is like 7 years ago, and I'm running my clothing and skateboard company out of my tiny Chinatown apartment, documenting, trying to get it into stores. I ended up getting into a huge chain store called Zoomies. So I have like all of this documented, which is so cool to look back on. And then I started having so much fun with content because it's so much easier. Like, I'll be straight up with you guys right now. Like, it's way easier to do a brand deal for a lot of money than how many t-shirts I had to sell, especially before I had a following. So it was like so difficult. I was like, whoa, this YouTube thing's like so fun, and it's like printing money in a way. So I kind of got lost in that. And then I think I was like, you know what? I miss business too much. Like, that's who I am. I know that's what I was put on this planet to do. So how do I bridge the two of those things together and create a series around building a business? And that's kind of where we're at now. So Like I love like all the documented shows about WeWork has We Crash on Apple TV, or The Social Network, the Facebook movie. So I thought, how can I bring that type of energy and storytelling to YouTube in real time with starting a business? And now we're at this series and launching on Sunday.
It's amazing. We want the Social Network outcome, not the We Crashed outcome, though.
Exactly.
That's important. And Elliot, same with you. What was the inflection point, or like something that other creators here in the audience or entrepreneurs can sense, like it's time?
Yeah, I actually just started again, like selling it as merch essentially, and I didn't know what to expect, but I think like the first drop we did like, I don't know, like 100, 200 hoodies, and that to me was like pretty crazy just because I didn't know how views would necessarily translate into actual customers. And so, yeah, I think like that was super exciting, and I was like, okay, we got to do it again. And then so we did another drop, and yeah, we've just been doing that ever since. So it wasn't like I set out to like, oh, I'm gonna start a brand, and like it wasn't really like that. It was more so, let me just see what happens, and then kind of grew from there.
I love that. Jacob, I want to bring it back to you in terms of this timing aspect you talk about. What are other indicators that you think kind of constitute a creator being ready for the commerce leap? And I recognize commerce is broad. It can mean you're launching, something on Teachable, right? It could mean that you're, like doing an event or something like that. But I guess when we're talking about physical products to an extent, or maybe it's even food items, CPG, what other indicators? Is it a niche thing? Is it an audience size thing?
I don't want to give the "it depends" answer, but I'll do it anyway. It depends. I really think of like the creator commerce journey of being one that is almost like climbing a hill, where as a creator you might say, hey, maybe I'm going to start by doing affiliate partnerships where I don't necessarily have connections to brands to talk about them in exchange for dollars. So instead, I'll start with like affiliate partnerships. So that kind of is at the beginning, and then from there you might start and do brand deals. And then after that, you might say, hey, I've got a community. They want to wear like my brand, my heart on their chest. And so they start with apparel, with merch, and then sort of move from there into like the very bespoke CPG complex. It's a journey, and it's one that, depending on where you're at, you might want to get off the hamster wheel of content and say, hey, if I decide to launch a product that is value add for my community, I don't have to make 4 videos a month, a video a week. I can kind of take a step back and say, cool, instead, why not a video every other week? Because I'm providing this product that my community loves, that they get value from.
I like that. Climbing like a commerce mountain.
Like a commerce mountain. I love it.
That's good.
Yeah.
Right? You're climbing that. So that's interesting that there's steps you need to take to perhaps see the success in commerce, or have the mental mindset that you're ready. And you touched on a good point about hopping off the content treadmill. Amanda, when we met before this, you talked about that. How is your framing around how commerce has maybe enabled you to feel like being a creator and what you're doing is more sustainable?
I think since I had been doing YouTube for so long, up until that point, I was very on that hamster wheel, posting every single week, and I was just getting burnt out. And also, I'm an artist, so I'm like, I just need to create something new at all times. So creating the brand was sort of my way of doing that. And I don't think I went into it intentionally being like, oh, this is my time to hop off the content wheel. I actually was trying to do both at the same time, and that was just really not a good idea because it meant I was double burnt out. But then eventually I started kind of seeing that I could take a step back a little bit from content, posting less. Honestly, now I post like 1 video a month. But it's really nice because my community knows that I'm busy doing this thing, creating this stuff for them, and they've been really supportive and welcoming for that. So it's nice to know that you have like other projects going on. You're not so focused on sponsorships or other brands for your livelihood.
I love that. No, that's great. I think it's a good way to think about. Then again, when you're climbing up the mountain, there's a point where it's like, oh, this isn't sustainable, and then you realize what you can do to kind of help you hop off that content treadmill. So you can keep delivering for your audience and not having to worry about 5 videos per week. And your audience may not even want that.
It also made making content way more enjoyable for me in terms of like I don't need to take all the sponsorships that come into my inbox. I can just focus on the ones that I really want to do.
It's great. It's like it's in your control, which is awesome. And Brett and Elliot, from a marketing standpoint, you both are uniquely you've been building in public. And your content has been infused with that, where you're like day in the life of building a $1 million tea brand, or Elliot, I just watched your video where you're like day in the life of scaling a apparel brand and things like that. How have you found that building in public has shaped and evolved your content, and maybe has enabled you to connect deeper with what I guess would be your core customer base? If Brett, you want to tell us how you're operating now?
Yeah, so again, I always knew that I wanted to be an entrepreneur, and I knew that the goal was to create content around building businesses. So I kind of strategized for about a year or two, sneaking in little videos that were building up to that, whether they were side hustle videos of opening up a lemonade stand in the middle of New York City to see how much money I can make, or switching lives with a billionaire and seeing what their life is like, kind of throwing in these sprinkles of entrepreneurship. And then this whole idea came where I wanted to document trying to build $1 million tea business in public in 1 year. So it's been so cool to kind of still make it a cool challenge video that the audience likes and it's entertaining. And I'm even trying to treat it like it's my MBA project, where I get to learn, the audience gets to learn from my failures. So I'm not doing this as a tutorial of like, watch me build a successful business. It's more like, I'm going to give this everything I got with my own real money, and let's see what happens.
And it also gives you content, like you said, like you're kind of creating this behind the scenes, we crash social network vibe that people really love. And now they're able to get it from you, who they have a deeper relationship with, which I think is great. I actually came across you because of your first video that you talked about, like, here's my goal of building $1 million tea brand in a year. And that's when I reached out to you and got connected. So that's like where this all came to be. So you doing this build in public content has enabled you to also expand your audience a little bit, which is great.
So true. With a quick little story, I remember posting that video. I was already in India working on the second episode of developing the tea company and sourcing it. And I remember going to sleep that night, waking up to an email from Shopify to be like, hey, we saw your new video. We love what you're doing. We want to help out in any way possible. So not only did we do some partnerships, they've connected me with the guy David's Tea who started, or David from David's Tea, and they connected me with my supplier. So it's crazy when you put something out on the internet, you don't know who's watching, even if it's 100 views. One person from that 100 views could be someone like Shopify and kind of change your life. So keep posting is my advice.
That's great. It's funny, our last event that we had a couple weeks ago was focused on kind of personal branding element. You each are obviously building your personal brand and showcasing that. And so I think that element of putting yourself out there, one, helps you maybe get access to investors or supporters or Shopify folks and new customers, which I think is great. And Elliot, same with you. You're building in public. How has this kind of impacted the growth of the apparel brand, which of course is in a very competitive space? So how have you found that maybe that's assisting anything?
Yeah, I think there's like this big wave of like building public content, and like I think there's this impression that founders or entrepreneurs are just doing it to get marketing. But I mean, I saw people raise their hands when Brett asked how many founders there are here. Like, like it's a lot of time and it's a lot of effort, and you don't really have time to go like create different types of videos on top of growing your company and your business. So I feel like it's just like an organic, natural thing where you're already building your business, so just like doing a little bit of storytelling around it can actually help grow your business, which is what you're working on anyways, and that's kind of the goal if you're building a brand. So yeah, I think like the storytelling aspect, of course, you do have to mess around with that a little bit and make it engaging, but for the most part, you're doing already like 60-70% of the work, which is like you're growing a business. So just putting a camera up and kind of documenting that, I think is a really natural way to like not have to do separate marketing or separate content. It's very organic.
I love that. And Amanda, your product is naturally infused in your content, right? You're not like showing the process of building a brand to an extent.
Yes and no. I think naturally, since I do make videos about journaling and planning, it's easy for me to use those products in my videos, but also my audience has been very involved in watching me make mistakes and grow and all of that. And I do sort of infuse that a little bit because just like them, like that is my life. And in my videos, I talk about my life, and that's just a really big part of it. So naturally, it just kind of makes its way in there.
So let's talk about what are some of your wins and lessons learned since launching on Shopify.
Well, this one is a story I tell a lot, but
We want to hear cautionary tales
Yes.
for folks here.
so I sell these coloring book planners, and planners are a very interesting space because there's a very limited window that you can sell them, which is this current window right now. And so, as you can imagine, the timelines are very tight. So we actually print our planners. Like I'm already working on the 2026 planner now. So it's a very long process. And when we printed our bulk one year, I think this was like 2021, our entire bulk had a misprint in it, which, yes, as you can imagine, it was very stressful. So I learned a lot of lessons there. And what I learned was I had to pivot. So what I was able to do was I actually just sold them as like misprinted, we called them oops planners. And we sold them at a discounted price because a lot of my audience, there were some people who weren't able to access it during the normal sale because there's a bit on a higher price range for them. So it was really nice to like give them access to that and not have all of these products go to waste. So that was a very big learning lesson, but I think it was really nice to like also make that mistake in public to my audience because I think it also made us like more human, and we were just really transparent with them. We showed them like every single page that was misprinted, and a lot of people didn't really have an issue with it. They actually just liked that they could get it at a discounted price. So
And it's limited edition.
yeah, exactly. So it was just, it's kind of nice. They felt like they had like a special version of the planner.
I'm a sucker for limited edition. So, I mean, I'll see something like, I want that right now. That's great to know. So you bounce back, and I agree with your point on it. When you're storytelling and sharing the journey publicly, people and your customer base maybe are more inclined to be accepting of the mistakes and maybe more attached to the brand and buy the mishap stuff versus chucking it. And you have something that, all of you have something that the bigger institutions don't have, and that is you and your storytelling that separates. So Ralph Lauren messes up stuff and they're throwing it away or wherever it goes. But, if it was Ralph on his Instagram, then maybe, people would be, I'll take the one that's mishapped with the color. So Brett, you're actively building. What perhaps has been the biggest lesson? I think you're in a position also where you can relate on a ground level to a lot of people here currently. What has maybe been a biggest win and then lesson learned?
Yeah, I would say, again, I had a business before I was doing content when I was in school 10 years ago. And building a company then relative to now is insanely easier. Like, there's no excuses not to be able to build an online store right now, especially with Shopify. Like, my first website, I had to pay someone $1,000 in code, and it took like 8 months, and it was forever. There's literally a Belief website right now, drinkbelief.com, that you guys can go on and pre-order. But I built that literally in one day. I do have a team that's going to help me build out something bigger, but the fact that you can build a beautiful website on Shopify in one night is insane. Like the time that we're living in with AI and everything, it's just, we're living in the time of abundance. So take advantage of it. Because when I was building a company without it, I now know how much easier it is.
It's great. I love that. Elliot, what about you? You've been in the process for a couple years now. What have you felt has been a big win or lesson learned in this commerce journey?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many. I could not go over all the lessons, but and I'm still learning. As I grow, I'm always learning. But yeah, I think like planning, especially for a physical product, is just like so important. And there's always delays. Like we all know this. Like it's always delayed. There's always a delay, and even when you account for a delay, like that's gonna get delayed too. So yeah, I think like planning in advance and just getting on top of that is really key. Like I didn't even know, for example. Like our factory is in China, and like this was a mistake, but did not account for like the Chinese New Year, which if you don't know, it's like basically a month where they take off and they celebrate, and that's their like big holiday. So it's not the best when you hear from them, oh yeah, you're gonna get pushed back like a month or two even. So yeah, stuff like that is like you live and you learn, but I have like a system where like every time I make a mistake, I write it on a post-it note and I put it in my closet. And oh my God, it's just like, yeah, a ton of post-it notes. And one of them is literally that lesson, like Chinese New Year, don't forget these dates. Yeah.
Damn it.
Yeah, it's I think it's great. And then next year, I used to think a year was a long time, but just comes by like that. And so, next year you won't make the same mistake, and every year you get better, and hopefully over time,
It's great.
Yeah, improve.
It's wonderful. Jacob, for you, I want to bring it to you. Hearing all this, I'm sure you hear other stories. What's like one piece of advice for everyone in the audience that's looking to kind of get started with commerce to be thinking about?
Yeah, I think the thing that I always love to bring up is the O word, and that is ownership. I think when you're building your communities on, like, let's say vertical video platforms, you're renting eyeballs, right? And so the thing to remember is when you're building a store and when someone transacts and hands you $1 and says, please give me your thing, not only are you getting the dollars from them, but you are also building your SMS lists and you're building your email lists. And like, again, I'm the Shopify guy, so like, I'm like gonna go rah Shopify. But one of the best parts is like, you can get that phone number for SMS and you can communicate directly with your audience about what's happening. Our team met with Ashley Alexander earlier today. Love her. And with that, she's built the Matcha Mob on SMS. So she sends all of her updates, and you guys are like, yeah, I probably do SMS too. But she sends updates to her fans on SMS. And like, I don't know if y'all are like this, but for me, when I get a text message, I'm looking at that text message. And then if I'm not looking at the text message, I'm looking at the email. And you guys get email too. So I think the thing that I love to remember with building stores and building, customer bases is that you can get even closer to your customer by getting SMS, getting email.
So launch a Shopify store, capture email, launch a newsletter on Beehive
There you
to connect, and then share your learnings and what it's like to grow a business on Teachable. Thank you, everybody. That's it. That is a connect for all of us. That's great. Let's finish down the line because I want to open for Q&A with the one piece of advice from each of your experiences. If Elliot, if you want to go next.
Yeah, I think like in the beginning, you just kind of
Be aware of Chinese New Year.
Yeah, that too. I'm still scarred, honestly, so it's really on top of my mind, honestly. But no, I think the key is just to start, honestly, like, especially when you start anything, it's just like things will change and you'll pivot and you'll learn, and you don't really know until you start. I feel like, is it like the Dunning-Kruger effect or something, where like you think you know everything and then you realize you know nothing. You have to get to that point where you realize you know nothing, because then you're like basically on a treadmill to try to like learn as much as possible, as quickly as possible. And that's, to me, the really fun part, just because you want to build something, you want to create something, and you put in the work to really get that done. So yeah, I think the key is to start, and you'll learn things along the way.
Amazing. Brett.
Yeah. So I've been creating content for nearly a decade now, and I think the one thing that has allowed me not to burn out and be more excited than ever to make videos is creating content that I would want to watch. And that's probably the best piece of advice I can give to any creator, because then you'll never run out of ideas. It'll keep pushing you to be inspired to create. So for me, I feel so alive making the videos right now of building this business. And it's exactly the type of content that I would want to watch, especially like 5 years ago, Brett, who wanted to start a new business. So yeah, just create content that you guys would want to watch yourself.
I love that. And create a product that you maybe would use yourself as well.
Yeah, that would be stupid to create a product that you wouldn't want to use, but yeah.
A lot of tea. And Amanda?
I think this goes for both content and building a business, but not being afraid to sort of play the long game. I think especially these days, a lot of people try to chase virality and whatever's hot and TikTok and all of this. But I think what I've noticed just being in this space for so long is that trends come and go, and the people that stick around the longest are just the ones who build community, just slow and steady. And yeah, that's how you'll be like sustainable in this game. And yeah, I've had creator friends, and I've seen creators who have a relatively small audience, but just because they're so authentic and have built this community, they're able to make a very decent living. And it's not about the big numbers and all of that. It's just about the community.
1,000 true fans.
Can I throw one in?
Please.
Don't underestimate the impact that digital products can have. I think that people always go to like, I have to launch a physical product. Amanda's nodding because she has digital products.
I just launched a digital planner today, actually.
Love that. But yeah, don't underestimate the, you can provide something to your audience for $1 even, something that is valuable to them, that you can start with, and then again, get your email list ready, and then maybe when you're ready, you can launch a physical product. Digital products, man.
No shipping.
No shipping. Are your books heavy, Amanda? Are your journals heavy?
So heavy.
Yeah.
And people don't like to pay for shipping. So that's something you'll learn as a business. They hate shipping.
I was surprised recently. I was buying something from Skims for a holiday gift, and I had to pay for shipping. And I'm like, Kim Kardashian's not covering the shipping on this thing. I've rarely had to pay for shipping. It was crazy.
I have to step in real quick. That's probably my biggest lesson.
Yeah.
Is like as a business, if you I don't know. I feel like you think I'm about to say something, but I'm gonna say the opposite thing right now. Is like offering free shipping can completely like destroy your business if you don't account for it. If you did the math and you're good, then great. But like 1 year, I offered free shipping, did not know that would rack up, and then almost.
Well, unless it hits a certain price. If you're like, oh, spend $200
yeah,
free shipping,
now we
then
know,
you can cover it.
And it's but that's
Just
actually a big lesson.
not during Chinese New Year.
that too.
Come a little late.
Just put it in a real small box. It'll be fine, I'm sure, right?
Squeeze it in.
and deliver everything.
Thank you for answering all of my questions. This is super helpful because, one, we talk about commerce a lot with the community. I also failed to mention I work at Kickstarter, the crowdfunding platform, as head of content creators, and work with creators all the time, YouTubers, on launching projects like a Hank Green. He launched a prompt book, which was really cool. And I have the similar pitch where it's like, get off the treadmill and give your audience something that they want. What are they saying in the comments? Maybe I'm looking to launch something for Creator Economy NYC in the new year that's maybe digital or something, and so it's helpful to know that hopefully, I'll cover the shipping, may or may not, I don't know. I do want to open up for Q&A. We could take a couple questions if anyone has, and then we can pass it around. So I'll start here. Just state your name and speak in the mic. It's sensitive, so.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jade Nadari. This question is for you. I had a question about just transitioning from college. I just graduated from college, and like creating content that is not college related that people would still want to come see. Like, I know college content is very popular. So how did you kind of like transition from that college content to just like lifestyle and keeping people still interested in what you were doing?
Yeah, that's a good question. I also had an existential crisis coming out of college because I was really worried that no one would watch me. I think you'll find that like over the years of you putting out college content, that your fan base and your viewers have engaged with you, developed a relationship with you, are essentially friends with you, and they will carry on. It's kind of like, everyone has like, I don't know, middle school friends or elementary school friends, and you might not necessarily talk to them every week. Maybe you do, that's great, but if you haven't talked to them in a while, it's like, when you see them, it's just like no time has passed. So I think it's like more about engaging with your community and making sure that whatever you do next, it's not like a complete like hard pivot, but more of like a gradual like, hey, it's still me, and like you carry that through to whatever content you want to create next. But I think you'll have no problem with that. It's just people, at the end of the day, it's about a relationship that you have with someone.
I think, Amanda, you should answer this too, because we just did a pop-up together in Toronto. Shout out Toronto. But your audience has been around watching you since you were a teenager.
Yeah.
And some of them were like, I've been watching you for 12 years.
Yeah, so I think what I was going to say is that you also have to remember that your audience will also grow with you. So it's not just like you're only like appealing to college kids. They'll grow with you, and what they want to watch is probably also what you're going to want to make. So yeah, I mean, I started when I was like 15 years old, and obviously the content I'm making then is not the same. And I've had people now, they'll come up to me and be like, I used to watch you when I was in middle school, and I'm like a doctor now. So it's like crazy. Like, so people will grow, and your audience will find you as well. So don't Oh, sorry. Don't worry.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Brett, for taking the opportunity to put this together. Thank you, panelists. My question is about, at least addressed to founders or people who kind of wearing multiple hats, right? A lot of it is systems. Are there any tips you could have about what systems we can create to be able to sustain ourselves with the different hats we have to wear, and then be able to also create and still share our story in a unique way?
Yeah. Can I go first? So my piece of advice for that I had to learn the hard way was setting up the systems first. Like right now on all of my content, like I even have Joe right here who I recently hired to help me out with short form, have a team of editors, and how to set all that up so that I could focus on building a business. So I would say, yeah, try and like build a team, even if it's small, 1-2 people, your mom, whoever. Like highly recommend just getting some help so that you can spend new time on your new venture.
I think I would recommend a team, but also I actually recently, within the past couple of years, has actually downsized my team just because I felt that I was becoming a manager, which is like my worst nightmare. Yeah, I'm like, I just knew that what I was an artist and creator, and I felt like I was actually spending less time doing that and just spending more time like managing people, which is not what I want to do. So obviously I know that if I built this huge team out, I could really fast track a business and like, you know, skyrocket or do whatever, but that's just really, it didn't feel fulfilling to me. So I think you kind of have to find your balance of figuring out what is important to you and what you want to be doing.
My recommendation is really just like document. I think you do have to do everything in the beginning, right? That's as a founder, that's kind of the role you take on. And it's a good thing because you get to really understand your business at a deep level, which I think is honestly critical. And then once you do something once, like you know, maybe it takes you like 5 hours to do it, but then next year or next quarter you do it and it's like, it takes you 3 hours. And then it's because if you have that documentation of like, oh, this is how I do things, then you can go and take that to someone else if you want to expand your team and hire. And it's useful even for yourself, even if you don't go out and hire someone. So systems and all that stuff, I think comes down to documentation.
Another question over here. Hey everyone. Someone else? No. I'm Jacob.
Good name.
It was hard. Every time they said your name, I looked up. So ahead of the point on the Commerce Mountain, so to speak, where Shopify makes it really easy and delightful. There's my plug.
Your dollar's in the mail.
Yeah, exactly. You know, you guys talked about affiliate. You talked about brand sponsorships. How much time and effort would you ascribe to those phases of the Commerce Mountain? And yeah, what were your kind of best practices around those elements?
Wait, so your question is how is it doing both or?
Sounded like it was like a phased journey where most people do affiliate marketing up front, then maybe advance onto brand sponsorships. And now obviously Shopify making it really easy to start your own, you know, brands and storefront. How did you handle the kind of initial phases as well?
Okay. Elliot, you got anything?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I started off doing sponsorships. Like that was the first dollar I ever made was from a brand sponsor. And yeah, I mean, I guess AdSense first. So thank you, YouTube. And then, yeah, I think over time, as I started to do more sponsorships, I realized like, oh, okay, like these brands want to keep working with me. We have a good relationship. You know, instead of promoting just other brands that I like, why not just promote my own brand? So I think that's kind of a natural progression where at some point you're like, okay, I want to start something, create something. And then obviously it's almost like you have to take a step down because like Brett said, like sponsors can be very generous and that's great. But I think like building your own thing is also a little bit more long-term sustainable and also fulfilling.
Yeah, no, to add on, like it's been quite difficult with trying to launch this company and doing all the sponsorships. So like I didn't even post a YouTube video all of November, which was my first time in my like 8-year career of YouTube, just because I was focusing so much on launching on this business. So I guess to answer your question, the brand deals is nice and that has been my career for 6 years, but it's exciting now to like not have to worry about that, say no to that, get to a comfortable level where I don't have to rely on that, and now build something that'll hopefully last decades to come.
Yeah, I also started out doing sponsorships for like 6 or 7 years, and honestly, that's what I saved and used for my business. So I was able to just build fully like without any third-party help. And I think that's like a really great thing if you're at that point where you're thinking about building something. You can kind of not take your time, like don't take too long and overthink, but you can kind of use that time as time to plan and build.
Great. So I think tonight it was really cool to hear the word build hundreds of times, but in a really great way. And I think building is obviously a key part of getting to where you need to be. But I'm very curious from your perspectives and your experiences, building a community, you've done that. Do you remember the day when you look back and you were like, holy, I built a community like that? There must have been a day. Yeah, that was it. Like, what was that feeling, and when did you know you have your community that you were so putting together?
Yeah, I guess it was really like around the time when I launched the brand, because like Elliot mentioned, when you first launch, it's kind of like, how is this going to transfer over? Who's going to, come along with me on this journey? And especially when I started, there wasn't a lot of people doing brands in this way. So I did get some of the comments of like sellout and all of that, but so I just didn't know. But I think when I first launched, we did a pop-up, like an in-person event in Toronto. This was like 6 years ago. And just seeing people come out and seeing in person, like the people that, wanted to buy my planners, and seeing people post pictures of their planners, or hearing the stories about people using their planners to, for their life, that's when I started really realizing. But yeah, I really think, honestly, when I did start the brand, it was the first time when I was like, wow, there's a community around this, because they were sort of rallying around me and my products, and it wasn't necessarily just about the videos that I'm putting out.
And for me, when I started doing content, I remember I wrote out 3 DMs I would want to receive from my audience. And it was, you helped me start my business, you helped me move to New York City, or you inspired me to travel the world. So that was my North Star, knowing that I want to create content that helps people with these 3 things. And then once I started getting those DMs, I was like, oh shit, like I must be doing something right. So I think having a North Star has always been something that's just helped me and guided me when creating. But yeah, so to answer your question, if there was a day, not really, but I guess like the first time getting recognized, I remember being like at JFK and someone said like, I love your videos. And I was just like, wait, can you say that again? Like I gotta record this. But yeah, so it definitely is a cool feeling.
Yeah, I think like putting faces to names. Like I did my first international meetup or something in Vancouver. And then, yeah, I was just like nervous if anyone would show up. And then people came with like gifts, and like some of them I couldn't even take back to the US because it was like someone brought me maple syrup, classic, and couldn't bring that, liquids, too big. But yeah, stuff like that is just like so touching. And whenever I see someone wearing copyright, that's like, I think it's just a feeling you have to, it's hard to describe. It's just like, this person not only supports me, but also supporting this thing that I care about so much, and it's really meaningful.
Do you remember the first time that you saw someone wear copyright out in the world? Was it one of those meetups?
Yeah, like, actually it might have been like on the streets, but the crazy thing for me is actually more recently I like saw someone wearing copyright, and I like went up to them and I was like, hey, and I thought they would like be like, what's up, Elliot? Like, I love your videos. And they're just like, I was like, hey, I love your hoodie. And he was like, thanks. I had no idea who I was, and that was super cool for me because I was like,
You
"Oh,
made
cool!
it.
Like, they don't know me. Like,
I've been so excited to not get recognized."
Exactly. I'm like usually excited to be recognized, and then now I'm like so excited to not be recognized. So that was super cool.
I actually have a funny story. I was walking along the street, and then a car passed by, and then a girl like rolled down the window and waved her planner at me and was just like screaming at me. So it was very frightening, but also once I realized, I was like, that was really cool.
They threatened you with your journal.
Yeah.
Hello, hi. I'm Chloe at Chloe Park. I just had a quick question. I'm not really a content creator, or at least like not a paid one, but as you guys were kind of navigating going from content creation more into this entrepreneur journey, how did you guys deal with potentially feeling like you were selling out or kind of, I guess, taking advantage of your community in terms of turning it into a business? I think that's one thing I generally struggle with is just like cringe culture. And I mean, maybe that's what I just need to overcome to be a content creator, but curious to see what you guys have dealt with.
Yeah, I think I can start. I think
That's a great question, by the way. On
Yeah.
cringe,
Really good question.
The cringe mountain climbing. It's
yeah,
good.
totally. I think like when you love your product and you love your customer, like it's never a sell. It's purely just like, oh, like this is something that this person would enjoy having, and my like if any marketing is just a way for them to kind of like get to that point where they're willing to purchase. But I think like a more like personal, relatable thing for me is like sponsorships. My first sponsorship is like, oh, like. Am I selling out? Like, they're paying me to promote to my audience. Is this bad? And I think it's the same concept where if it's not a brand you believe in or a product you believe in, you don't promote it. But, to me, marketing and running a business is not selling. It's more so just getting in front of the right people that already want what you're providing. So, yeah, I never think of marketing as like, oh, like, you don't need this, but I'm going to sell it to you. It's very much like, they would be excited to receive it. Otherwise, they wouldn't think it would be worth it to even purchase in the first place.
Yeah, I can add on to that. I think that is also sort of the mindset that I have, is just really focusing on the product, because if it's a good product, you don't need to be cringe about it. Last year, actually, a bunch of videos of me coloring in my planner went viral, but in the whole video, I did not mention once, like, this is my product, buy it. I made this. I did not mention at all. It's literally just me coloring in my planner, and people didn't even know that it was my product. So I had people commenting like, where did you get this? All of that. So I think, yeah, you don't even need to think of it as like selling out, and you don't need to think of it like that. There's ways to, create content around it without going in that direction.
Yeah, I mean, the best products are like natural extensions of the creators themselves. And what I've seen, and I'm not recommending this by any means, but I've also seen some creators build secondary accounts that are squarely focused on their brand. So if you have 10,000 people that are like hardcore fans of yours, and you create that brand account where you're going 100% of the time just on the product itself, you might get 1,000 true fans. Shout out Kevin Kelly, I guess, who will then just opt in to get that hardcore content just about the products. Secondary channels are for everyone. I know, Amanda, you have secondary channels for the brand?
I do.
What's your thought on brand channels?
It is hard, I think, just because my identity is so closely tied with it. So, yeah, there's a bit of a balance there, but I think, yeah, I don't really think of the channel so much as just like the actual content itself. Like, I think those videos would have done well, I guess, no matter which channel it was posted on.
That's a great question and answers. I posted on, I'm plugging myself here, I posted on LinkedIn today about this idea of climbing Cringe Mountain. I love my mountains. Commerce Mountain, Cringe Mountain. And there is that element of like, you kind of have to go through that awkwardness, your personal awkwardness of like the uncomfortability of what you're doing until you kind of realize like no one gives a fuck. And if you want to do the thing, you go out there and you get comfortable with that element. And I think these creators all kind of are the epitome of, they kind of have gotten over the peak of Cringe Mountain. But maybe it never goes away. But that's a super interesting question. We'll just do one more question. No? No good? All right, I think we're going to, let's do one more. I said one more.
Appreciate it. My name is James Rashad. I'm a designer. I create stuff, right? So listening to y'all talk, I have obviously done everything wrong, right? Everything wrong. However, my question is like, all right, when you make a mistake and you take a loss, right? I find it difficult to get back into the public after I've taken like a big L. Right, so have you had an experience where it's like, man, I made this mistake, this happened, I don't know if I could come back from this? So has that happened to any of you, and how did you bounce back?
Honestly, I don't know if I had like one big one, but I definitely have had like small ones where it just like really knocked me down. And maybe like a couple weeks went by where I was just like, how am I ever going to do this? And it's true where it's like a minor setback will lead to a major comeback. And just think of it as you're the hero of your life. And when stuff like this happens, it's just the bigger the dragon, the bigger the story, and the bigger that you're gonna go. So don't let it stop you. So to check out your stuff though. Yeah.
Oh, they're nice. We love them.
Yeah, I feel like I love that analogy, like the storytelling. Like you write your own story, right? So if you decide to stop after you take an L, it's like, okay, that's it. But then if you overcome that and you're just like, okay, that was all I had to go through and I still came out on top, I think that's an amazing story. And I think like changing your mindset to like embracing failure is actually so important because you're gonna fail. I'm sorry to tell you, you're going to fail a lot more in the future. And that's a good thing because you don't get to that point unless you fail, because if you don't fail, you don't learn. And this game is all about how can I learn as fast as possible without like falling completely flat on my face, but a little bit, trip here, trip there. You might bruise yourself and that's fine because that actually is going to make you tougher and actually, get you to where you want to be. It's good to fail. That's where you learn. If you're winning, you learn nothing.
That's great.
And sharing is what makes you relatable to others. So that's what makes you human. And then other people that make the same mistakes are like, oh shit, that happened to me too.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's so true. Yeah.
Sharing makes you relatable is the content that or the comment that was made.
It's true. Okay, it goes back to last event. We talked about this personal branding. Share your vulnerabilities, your stories. And like you said, like your audience will relate to those hiccups, like the oopsie planner, right?
Yeah, I'll just add one more thing. So with launching this business, my plan was to do a 30-day daily vlog up until the launch. I filmed the first 7, and on that 7th day, things went so bad. Like my supplier said that they're running like 60 days late. They were like importing things with the ports closed. If you guys remember that a couple months ago, there was something wrong with a different ingredient. Like so many things were going wrong. And I remember just hitting record and just like being so transparent. So again, you're just like building the story. It's something that's relatable. Again, if I made videos about starting this business and it was the easiest thing in the world, there's no story there. So I'm not saying I want things to go wrong, but they've been going wrong. So, and that series starts on Sunday. I hope you guys will check it out.
We'll be tuning in. Amazing. Where can everyone follow each of you, and maybe any announcements coming up? Amanda?
Yes, you can find me. My YouTube channel is AmandaRachLee, and then my store is shoparl.co. And we just launched the digital planner today, and if you like physical planners, we also have those as well.
I love it.
And then I'm just Brett Conti across Instagram and YouTube, and then it is Drink Belief Tea or drinkbelief.com.
We'll tag all of it in the recap post on Instagram and in the newsletter that's going to come out tomorrow. Elliot?
Yeah, Elliot Choy everywhere, and then add copyright on Instagram.
Nice. Jacob?
Yeah, I'm at Jacob McCord on everything. And Blue Sky, is anybody here on Blue Sky? Woo! Yo, Blue Sky is cool. So find me jacob.bsky.social.
Unbelievable. All right. Let's give a round of applause for our panelists. Thank you all. You guys were great, amazing, and thank you for being such a thoughtful audience and community. Look, my quick ask for you: 1, stick around to connect with each other. 2, share your feedback and learnings on social media. We always love to see posts on LinkedIn and Instagram sharing what people learned. And then after this, there will be a feedback email. We're keeping all of our events going in 2025, and I want to learn more about how this can be better and serve this community a lot more. So thank you all so much, and yeah, enjoy the rest of your week and happy holidays. Woohoo!